as Raleigh mentioned, I'm here for cleanup duty here, and I've been working at the Trading Pub for now since June. And one of the first assignments that I got was to take a look at this Nadex thing, and they really sort of jumped me into it. And so I downloaded a demo account, and I really liked it. And I liked it a lot, as a matter of fact. And part of my nature is I just like crash testing things. So I really got into Nadex. And one of the really nice things about TradingPub is that, you know, you get exposed to all these great speakers talking about futures and options and Forex and stocks. And there's so many great directional and non-directional strategies out there. But as I was getting into Nadex, what I was looking for is I was putting on a filter in there, because Nadex is really about having a very strong directional opinion about where you think the market's going to go. And I mean, even today, I picked up a lot of great information from speakers, and I'm going, this could really help me trading with Nadex. So what I'm going to be talking about tonight is, well, first of all, how many people here trade Nadex? Are there any Nadex traders at all? Type a yes if you trade Nadex. Okay, good. No's are all right too. All right. And of the people that are in the room, how many people trade just trade what you like to trade the most? Futures, options, stocks, Forex, E-minis? Okay, Forex, that's good. Futures, options, Forex. Good, because one of my strategies is going to be a Forex strategy. All right, so since most people are not that familiar with Nadex, I'm going to give you a quick overview about what Nadex is, a little look at the Nadex exchange, some news that just came out on Nadex, and then I'm going to have two high probability strategies that will expose you more to more about Nadex. So with that being said, got to do the disclaimer. Trading binary options involves risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources. And always remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So, what are binary options? Essentially what they are is a yes or no proposition. You know, every day when we take a look at the markets, we have some bias, whether the market is going to be over the short term or by the end of the day, whether it's going to be long or whether it's going to be short relative to where the market opened. And basically what you're doing with Nadex is you're not counting pips. You're not hitting a certain profit target. You're just saying, is the market going to be up or down relative to this strike price within a defined period of time? Every contract in Nadex is packaged in a $100 increment. So what that means is the maximum you can win or lose on any trade is $100. That also means you know exactly what your maximum risk and maximum loss is going to be per contract traded. So for an example, if you think gold is going to be above 1250 by 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, and the marketplace determines that there's a 70% chance that's going to happen, then if you take a market order, you might be risking $70 to make $30 on a high probability trade. Conversely, if you felt that gold was going to go below 1250 and the marketplace disagreed with you, then you would be risking $30 to make $70 on a lower probability trade on a market order. It's pretty much that simple. The Nadex exchange, Nadex stands for the North American Derivatives Exchange. Its original investor and partners included the CBOA and Norwest Venture Partners. It was acquired by the IG Group in 2007 and renamed Nadex. It's based in Chicago and it is subject to regulatory oversight by the CFTC. When you trade with Nadex, you don't have a broker. Your orders are being put directly on the exchange, so you don't have to worry about broker commissions, but you will have to pay exchange fees, which are quite reasonable. Your member funds are held in a segregated bank account, and there's full transparency on every trade. Nadex does not take a position in any of the markets that they have, so you're not betting against the house, and they don't stand to profit whether you win or whether you lose. Nadex is only currently available to legal residents of the United States, Canada, Mexico, and U.S. territories. I mean, there are other binary options outfits overseas, but Nadex, with their regulatory oversight, these are the only legal residents that it's available to. So, how do binary options work? It all starts with your opinion about the markets. You can do your technical analysis. You can say, hey, you can take a look at daily charts and say, hey, S&P is going up today, or it's going down. I think the pound-dollar pairing is going to go down again today. You can take a look at commodities, major indices, Forex pairs, and then what you're going to do is select the asset that you want to trade on Nadex. It could be the pound-dollar, it could be the euro-US dollar, it could be the E-mini S&P or the Dow or NASDAQ. It could be gold, crude, soybeans, or other popular commodities. And then what you want to do is say, you want to set your expiration time frame. It could be weekly, it could be daily, it could be hourly, and now with the U.S. indices, you can actually trade the Nadex exchange with 20-minute binary options. You determine what you want to buy, or whether you want to buy or sell a proposition, whether it's going to be up or down relative to a certain strike price. You select your number of contracts, what price you're willing to pay, and then you place your order directly on the exchange as a market or a limit order. If a trade is going against you, you can always close out early, or you can let the contract, the binary option expire if you're in the money and you think you're going to close successfully. How much does Nadex cost? This is great for people that are getting into the market. It's also good for seasoned traders. First of all, you can open up a 2-week demo account for free with Nadex, and you'll have $25,000 in play money to work with. You can open up a Nadex account for as little as $100. I personally recommend $500. The exchange, you don't pay broker commissions, but the exchange fees are 90 cents per contract per side. And the maximum commission, your charge is $9 per side if you trade 10 contracts or more on a trade. So if you traded 10 contracts successfully, you'd have a $9 execution and a $9 settlement fee. If you traded 20 contracts, it would be the same commission. And if a contract expires out of the money, there is an execution fee for entering the contract, but you're not charged a settlement fee if your contract finishes out of the money. Quick summary, I'm going to be showing you examples of how Nadex works, and I have actually a couple of live limit orders going. Binary options are based on a simple yes or no proposition. You have limited trade risk. You always know what your risk and reward is. You can have short-term expirations. You have spike protections. You cannot get stopped out while your trade is active. So for traders that trade and are constantly getting stopped out, you don't have to worry about that with Nadex. And finally, it's a regulated exchange and is subject to oversight by the CFTC. So with that said, let's take a look at Nadex. This is what your demo platform looks like. It's a very easy platform to navigate around. On your left side of the screen, you have your finder. So over there, you're going to find the markets that you want to take a look at. So we have indices and we have spreads. I'm not going to talk about spreads that much, but it's a pretty interesting way to trade with Nadex. You have popular indices. They have the Chinese market, FTSE, the DAX, which I'll be talking about, Nikkei, NASDAQ, S&P, Russell, and Dow derivatives. 4x of 9 pairs in there, the Aussie US dollar, the euro pound, euro yen, euro dollar, pound yen, pound dollar, US dollar, Canadian dollar, US dollar Swiss, US dollar yen. And then the commodities that we have are copper, corn, crude oil, gold, natural gas, soybeans, and silver. So there's plenty of instruments to trade on in Nadex. And then in the center of the console, you have you can have popular contracts that are active, or you can set up your own watch list for instruments that you like to trade. You're going to have the amount of time left in each one of the contracts, bid and ask prices and sizes, the indicative index, where the market currently is, and then down here below, what I've got is 2 pending orders, neither of which stand much of a chance of getting filled. I popped these in earlier. They were looking okay at the time. But let's say here's a pound dollar, so I'm just going to pop up this chart. Okay, so here's the pound dollar, and it's on a 5-minute chart right now. I basically sold the market right before it did this massive bearish move, and never kind of came up to fill me. This horizontal line showed you where my sell order was. Tried to touch it, my risk reward on it was $50 to make $50, or a 1-to-1. Had one of these things come in there and filled it, I'd be looking pretty good with 16 minutes left to go. It didn't fill. It's okay. I'm fine with it. I much prefer taking orders on my own terms rather than taking market orders. There are a lot of popular indicators that you can drop in there. You can drop in, Bollinger Bands if you like to use those. For those that like to play around with the Ichimoku cloud, you can drop that in. The ones I like the most, that I use the most often, are the 8 exponential moving average. Stephen Bigelow calls that the T line. I'll explain why I like it so much. I use the 50-day moving average, and I use slow stochastic set at 12.33. So these are the things. It keeps the chart clean for me. What I like about the T line or the 8 EMA is the market really hugs it nicely, and if it gaps away like it is down here, it always returns. And if it hugs the line, trend continues. So you can tell when there's going to be a short-term reversal just by watching how far the candlesticks move away from the T line. If the market runs below the T line, you are on a downtrend. If it rides above the T line, you're on an uptrend. And the same rules apply to the 50-day moving average. If it's below, you're on a downtrend, and if you're above it, you're on an uptrend. And then the stochastics just kind of let me know. That oscillator just tells me whether I'm overbought or oversold. So right now, at the end of this thing, right now we just came out of oversold territory. We're moving up a little bit. I don't think I'm going to get my fill here, but this is the information that I need, and wouldn't have been a bad trade. So, but there's tons of you can take a look at for markets volume. There's RSI, MACD. A lot of the popular indicators are built into the Nadex charting system, so it serves my purposes quite well. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. It's extremely, extremely easy to use and to find the markets you're looking for and to trade in them. So right now I've got 12 minutes left over here. In both of these ones here, my limit order was 50. My risk was 50 to make 50 in both of them. The current market is $20. Actually, if I wanted to to pick this up, I could amend this ticket, change it to 2050, and decide to pick up $20. But it's just not my trading style. Okay, other resources for Nadex. If you go to the Nadex website, there's great information and education materials up there. There's trading webinars, videos, PDFs, trading handbooks. There's a ton of information archived on this website. If you go to the trading tab, here's your demo trading platform. It couldn't be easier to set up. You just pop in your username, first name, last name, phone number, email address, submit, and you've got a 2-week demo. And once again, it's only available to residents of the U.S., U.S. territories, Canada, or Mexico. TradingPub has got a nice library of resources on Nadex. We have a library you can sign up for, and also under our Nadex tab, you will find a lot of archived information for how to trade Nadex. And then finally, once a month, I put out a blog newsletter called the Probability Report. And what I do with the Probability Report is I report a current webinars being hosted by Nadex, articles that I found, and webinars. And you also get latest news on Nadex. So that's the Probability Report. And you can go to that and you can subscribe to it and get that. And just another little resource that I put out for people that are interested in this platform. Okay, so I started with TradingPub back in June, and I got thrown into Nadex, and I got my demo account, which was 2 weeks, and I said, listen, I need to fund an account and start trading. Way back in 2000, I used to trade stocks and did quite well. And then it's been quite a while since I've gotten back into trading. So this has been great education, and I funded an account, a small account, less than $1,000. My daily trading goal is to make $50 in profits, and risk reward is key to that. If I have to risk 2 to 1 or risk 70 to make 30, I just don't like doing it. And if I do it, it had better be a slam dunk. I mean, it's got to be a great plan. 1 to 1 is just fine as long as the plan is strong and has better than 70 to 80% probability of success. Anything above that, risking 40 to make 60, 30 to make 70, 20 to make 80, love it. And I've been, every once in a while, I see some opportunities that present that. And as a general rule, as my account grows, never risk more than 5% of the account. 2% is better. So there's simple rules, and that's how I do it. So when I look at optimizing risk reward, I don't like taking market orders, because when I'm taking a market order, I'm basically taking an advertised price. If I'm buying something, I'm buying with something that's a proposition that someone's willing to sell to me. And I would much rather engage the market on my own terms. So almost all of my orders, unless it's just something absolutely irresistible, is a limit order. And I'll wait for the marketplace to fill me. And if it doesn't fill me, it wasn't meant to happen. Because Nadex is on, it works within a defined time period, time decay can affect the price of a contract. So the closer you get to expiration, the less attractive the proposition typically becomes. The more you're in the money, the more expensive it becomes. The further you are away from expiration, the more wiggle room you have to adjust risk reward. So my thing is, I just like to engage the market on my terms. And the way I do that with Nadex is to amend. When I pull up an order ticket, it's automatically going to suggest a market order. And here are 2 side-by-side tickets. The one on the left is a market. The one on the right is a limit order. Both of these orders expire in 2 hours and 40 minutes. And in this particular case, I was interested in buying the German DAX market at to be greater than 91.20. So I click on buy, I populate the number of contracts, one contract, and the market order for that is 61.50, meaning that I have a maximum loss potential of $61.50 to make a maximum of $38.50. You know, that could be all right, but I just don't like it. A lot of things can happen in 2 hours and 40 minutes. So what I do is I like the proposition, but I'm going to amend the price, put it in at 40, which would give me a maximum loss of 40 and a maximum reward of 60. I like that better. And the minute I do that, for my state of mind, I feel better. I feel more in control of my trade and not like I got suckered into buying an advertised price that someone wanted to sell me. So this is just the way I like to trade. In the evening, I review the trades that I made during the day, take a look at my winners, take a look at my losers. I keep a journal. And actually, one of the things I learned today was one of the things I'm going to add to my journal was the first presentation today is, what was my frame of mind during that? Was I alert? Was I engaged? Was I feeling like, did I feel like I was chasing the market? Was I revenge trading? And then I set up my indicators and take a look at the daily charts for the following day and make sure that I set up my T line and my 50-period moving average and my slow stochastics. And I just sort of take a look at opportunities lying ahead, how our market's trending. I look for low risk, high reward setups, and if I see one that looks pretty interesting, I might place a limit order overnight. But if I do that, it's rare that I risk any more than $20 to make $80. If it happens, it happens. And if it executes and it wins, I wake up feeling pretty good in the morning. I also check the Nikkei market for any opportunities. If the U.S. markets have a great day, the Nikkei has a tendency to follow, and that market closes at 225. So if I see a good opportunity, I might place a trade. In the morning, I go to check to see if my overnight order is filled, and I also take a look at my two favorite markets thus far, and with Nadex. I check the DAX and I check the pound-dollar pairing. I also check the S&P 500, see how it's doing, and take a look at the commodities. And if I see a good setup in play, then I'll engage it with a limit order on my terms. So this is just a couple of weeks old, but Nadex just announced 20-minute binary options. They are great for short-term attention deficit day traders. I mean, these things move fast, and it's an opportunity to pick up money in a very short period of time. They have expirations at 20-minute intervals starting at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which means you can start at 9:40 Eastern Daylight Time for a 10 o'clock expiration if you see an opportunity, and pick up some money pretty quickly. Currently, there are 4 indices covered, U.S. indices. The U.S. 500, which is the E-mini S&P 500, U.S. Tech 100, which is the Nasdaq, the U.S. Small Cap 2000, which is the Russell, and the Wall Street 30, which is the Dow. All the contracts expire on 20-minute intervals, which gives you 19 trade opportunities every day if you like to overtrade. And these are very fast-moving and require you to be alert and nimble. So I took a trade yesterday on the 20-minute binary options. Well, before I get to that. So I haven't had much experience doing this, and it moves pretty fast for me. But basically, I use my indicators: the T-line, slow stochastics, 50-period simple moving average. I take a look at the hourly, 15-minute, the daily, just to take a look at the overall trend in the market very quickly. I take a look at the hourly, the 15 minutes, and the 5-minute charts to see if there's a binary decision in play or a directional play. With candlesticks, If they're above the T-line, I know I'm in an uptrend. If I'm below the T-line, I'm in a downtrend. I take a look at the 50-period moving average, and I use stochastics to confirm whether the market looks like it's overbought or oversold. I also check the 1-minute Ichimoku cloud just to confirm whether I'm in bullish or bearish territory. Now, so here's a trade I took yesterday. And the vertical lines here that you see represent a period between 11 o'clock and 11:20 Eastern Daylight Time. The market was in a downtrend, and there was a heavy bearish bar, and you can see how the candlesticks just sort of kept on moving away from the T-line. I know that they're going to come back. And actually, when I entered and saw this setup, it was actually around 11:10, so I was halfway through this trade period. And then I saw this bullish move right here. And I said, okay, what's going on here? It's going to move above here. We're running out of time here toward the end of this thing. This thing is going to move up away from the T-line, and it's going to come back to it. And the stochastics down here, we're below the 50-day moving average, so we're in bearish territory. We've been bearish over here. We just crossed it. I thought we were going to come back down there, and the stochastics were showing me that we were going from overbought to oversold. So I found a proposition to sell at 20.30 and a nickel. And when I took a look at that proposition, the market order for it was actually pretty decent. It was offering me $60 reward for $40 risk. I took it. And it moved up a little bit, and then boom, straight down below the T-line, finished out doji, and paid and gave me a $100 payout with a $60 profit. Notice the next bar though, boom, straight up. If that thing had been over one time, I would have been dead in the water, or I would have had to be very quick to exit that trade out to minimize losses. So, takeaway with the 20-minute binaries is they move really fast. You have to have a strong sense about the market direction and it can yield quick profits. It requires dexterity. You got to be nimble and prepared to move quickly if a trade turns against you. And I would say stick to your rules. Don't enter a trade up if a setup isn't there. In other words, don't go for the actions. Stay disciplined. I think it could be good following economic news announcements. And finally, if you achieve your profit target and you get it done quickly, you're done. I mean, at least in my case. I'm not going to give profits back and try to look for more action on 20-minute binaries. Okay, now I've got a couple high probability strategies, and this is a fun one. This is with the German DAX market, and I have Tom Busby at Diversified Trading Institute to thank for this in Mobile, Alabama. Tom's been trading for years and was actually very instrumental in bringing the DAX to the United States. And he made an observation in one of his webinars that at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the DAX will make has a pivotal point that sets the direction of the market for the next couple of hours. And this was part of a presentation where he had 30 observations that he learned over the years. So he kind of just skimmed over it and just made that observation. And I went, hey, wait a second. If that's really true, that's a binary proposition. If the German market reacts that strongly to the opening of the 7 a.m. time frame, we may have something here. So I did a little bit of snooping, and I went back to the hourly bars of the DAX for 2 weeks, and I went, wow, this guy's right. So I went into testing mode. So basically, the rules couldn't be simpler. The open of the 7 a.m. Eastern Standard hourly bar of the DAX is a pivotal point and sets the direction of the market. And what I'm going to do is place a short-term Nadex trade to take advantage of that setup. My preparation for it is that I live in Austin. I'm on Central Time. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, which is I make sure I'm at my desk at 5:30 in the morning or 6:30 Eastern Time. and I take a look at the DAX. I take a look at the economic calendar. I like using investing.com. And I want to take a look at any news that could potentially affect the DAX. Is the German economic news good or bad? I take a look at the daily charts very quickly, and then I move down from the hourly 15 5-minute charts to take a look at the DAX and see where the direction is moving up or down over multiple time frames. I pop in the indicators that I just showed, the T-line, the 50 moving average, the slow stochastic oscillator, and in this case I use the 5-minute Ichimoku cloud because it does a good job of projecting out over 2-hour time periods. The execution of the strategy, in Nadex, the strike prices for the DAX are set at 20-point intervals. I'm going to choose the 7 to 9 a.m. time period for the for Nadex, since this is all pivotal on the 7 a.m. open. And at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to choose the closest strike price in the money. If the DAX, if the 7 a.m. hourly bar of the DAX is looking bullish, then I'm going to buy the DAX, but I'm going to buy at the first strike price I can find below the opening price of the 7 a.m. hourly candlestick. Conversely, if it's a bearish bar, I'm going to select the first strike above the opening price of the 7 a.m. hourly candlestick. And I'm going to place a limit order, risking $50 to make $50. And that's it. That's pretty much as simple as it gets. So here are 4 consecutive days that happened recently with this particular strategy. Starting on the left, this little green small bullish bar, there's the opening of the 7 a.m. bar. I bought below it. It closed at 8 o'clock, successful transaction. Next day, we have a bearish 7 a.m. open. I found the strike price just slightly above the opening of the 7 a.m. candlestick, finished in the money. Next day, we're bullish again. 7 a.m. open, bought below it, and it was perfect all the way through. And then finally, on the 4th consecutive day, there's the opening of the 7-day bearish candlestick, and it just it just sell above it by the 8 o'clock bar. I was good. So that's 4 days, 4 successful transactions. When I place orders with this strategy, it really comes down to trust in the wick. Here's a 7 a.m., here's an 8 a.m. bar. We've got a bar that's developing that developed bearish, and here's the opening price right here. If I place, I place a limit order right here at this line because Nadex gave it to me. So now I'm going to sell right here. The next 20 points down, if I buy right there, if I sell right there, a market order is going to give me 50-50, probably. But now I'm in danger of this next bar maybe coming back and finishing out if I'm selling below this line. So my rules are pretty stringent about selling above or buying below. And that's part of the reason why this plan has been working out a good 80% of the time. So this is kind of like the blind way to do it, but you have to interject some common sense because most of the time this will work, but sometimes it doesn't work. And you just need to be aware that there can be exceptions to the rule, and one of them is what I call the moving bus. This was actually last week, and this is the 4 a.m. bar, 5 a.m. bar, 6 a.m. bar, 7 a.m. bar. This market is moving with some heat downward. It's moving away from the T-line, and remember what I said, the market's always going to come back to the T-line. The 7 a.m. bar, hourly bar, was that bar that had to make it back to the T-line. It wasn't a reversal. It was just picking up the slack. It was going to move back down. On this particular day, I saw this thing happening, and I said, there's just no way I can buy this market here and think that the next bar is going to be up. I think this is just doing its job to get back to the T line, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So if I would have been really stringent about buying below this bar right here, I would have been killed by the next bar. So sometimes you need to, well, you always need to sort of take a look at the technicals as well. Okay, so let's take a look at today's DAX market. Okay, this is Nadex, and this is an hourly look at the DAX. And so today was an interesting day because it seems whenever I have to do these presentations, things never work out the way I really want them to work out. Here's the 7 a.m. We have well, actually the 6 a.m. bar was bearish, and the 7 a.m. bar was very bearish, but it had a nice little wick up there. And I'm going, But Nadex gave me a strike price that was really, really up there, and I just couldn't take that. So, and I also had to wait on this. You know, when you look at this right now, you're going, gosh, that thing had some momentum. But things never work out the way you always want them to work out. So I'm going to move to a 5-minute chart, and I'm going to sort of dial into what happened at 7 a.m. Okay, so market was moving down. I'm going, okay, well that I'd already confirmed that on the hourly charts. The 7 a.m. open was a bearish doji. It just sat down there and it was sitting on the T line. Next 5-minute bar, boom, it's moving up. I'm going, Before I get too crazy about selling this market, I need to investigate this a little bit further. And sure enough, it moved up to the 50-day moving average, bounced back, and started going down. I said, okay, now I feel comfortable about this. And this horizontal line is at the 92.80 mark, or 92.79, which is where Nadex gave me an offer, a strike price. So I said, okay, I'm going to sell it from here. But the market just kept on moving down away from me. And it never retraced and bounced back and filled. But it was moving so fast that I said, well, what if I just move it down another 20 points to 92.58? And it just kept on going. I decided to break my rule and chase at one level, but I wasn't going to chase at another one because all too often it can come back. So today wound up being a no fill on that particular order, which is fine. I didn't lose money, but I wasn't going to chase it, and I stayed disciplined. On the day before, this one actually worked out okay because Nadex gave me a nice little fill well below the this green, between this green one, and the next day, the following day, following bar filled out good on me. This one was, let's see, this one here. Yep, this one here was also fine. And I'm going to show you a profit plan where I've recorded 40 consecutive trades to show you how this plan actually plays out. Okay, so when I came on board with TradingPub, one of the things that Raleigh told me about testing any theory, excuse me, is that it takes 40 trades and test for a theory or a strategy to be statistically significant. If you don't have 40 trades under your belt, you don't know what you're really working with. And I thought that made sense. So with this DAX strategy, I just completed doing 40 trades at 7 a.m. In the morning. So I've gone through 40 trading days. All the trades were made in my demo account, and all trades were taken between the 7 and 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time frame. I strictly adhered to my rules. My risk or reward in every single trade was 1-to-1, risking 50 to make 50. And my testing also assumed that I just funded an Nadex account with a $500 opening balance, and I was risking $50 per trade. I also did not exit any contracts early. I held all of them to expiration in this test. So I started this test back on September 17th, and over the first 10 days, I recorded 8 wins and 2 losses. So not bad. I'm up $300, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. Let's move to the next 10 days. I had 9 wins and 1 loss, so I'm up another $400. Bear in mind, I just opened this whole account. I assumed that I was opening up with a $500 opening account. Next 10 days, not as good, but not bad. I had 6 wins, 2 losses, and 2 no-fills, picking up $200 during that trading period. And then the final, which actually ended on Tuesday, I had 6 wins, 3 losses, and 1 no-fill, picking up $150. So when you take a look at the whole test, the results of this whole thing, I executed 40 trades in test mode. Each one was taken at 7 a.m. for the 7 to 9 a.m. period. Out of those 40 trades, I had 29 successful trades, yielding me $1,450 or a 72.5% win rate. I had 8 unsuccessful trades, which cost me $400 or a 20% loss rate. I had 3 no-fills, which cost me nothing, but represented 7.5% of my trades, yielding me a net profit of $1,050. So my account balance, if I opened with a $500 balance, went up to $1,550 less $59.40 in exchange fees, yielding me a net profit of $1,490.60. It's a 200% return on the $500 opening balance using a 1-to-1 risk reward and no trades exited early. So to summarize this, it's really pretty easy. You need to be aware of the market and do a little bit of prep work before the 7 a.m. Eastern time frame opening of the DAX market. If I'm buying, I buy the nearest proposition available to me below the opening price of the DAX. If I'm selling, I'm buying the first strike above the opening hourly candlestick for the 7 a.m. DAX. And I place limit orders, risking 50 to make 50, and that's it. Okay, so that is the DAX strategy. And the next strategy deals with the Forex instruments on Nadex, and that's the British pound US dollar London Open strategy. And this is based on a really successful strategy that's taught by Joshua Martinez at MTI. And the strategy works great for Forex, and it works just wonderfully for Nadex. It's also a really good strategy to use if you work during the daytime. If you work from 8 to 5 Eastern Standard Time and you don't have time to trade the markets, you can actually execute some trades if you're willing to get up a little bit early, place an order, and go back to bed. The rules are very easy to follow in this strategy. The daily low or high will be established between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time when the London market opens. The opposing daily high or low will occur between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time after the opening of the New York time. And this works about 75–80% of the time. And also, average daily range of the pound dollar is, excuse me, in excess of 100 pips. So why does this happen? Well, at 2 o'clock in the morning, the European markets open, financial markets open. London market opens at 3, and at 3 o'clock, that 1 hour period, it's also the last hour of the Tokyo market. So you have Europe, London, and Tokyo all working at the same time. That's a tremendous amount of financial transactions being cleared. And what it does is it tends to shoot the British pound and its associated currency pairs up or down. It's also very sensitive to economic news coming out of the UK, typically at 4:30 in the morning. So, but there will be a strong bullish or bearish move that will be triggered normally just after the 3 o'clock hourly bar. So here's how it plays out. All the way on the left-hand side of this chart, you can see the market opens at 2 o'clock in Europe, and it kind of chops up a little bit, comes down a little bit, then London opens, and it starts getting to work, and then boom, it shoots straight up. Oops. It shoots straight up to here. It's a lot of energy going up to 420. So is the low here or is the high there? Well, on this particular day, I decided just to wait for a second, and then bam, it shot down. I said, I have a very strong feeling. Also, the general direction, looking at the daily charts, have been down on this particular currency pair. So sure enough, it starts to shoot down. Probably right there, there had to be some bearish news being announced at 4:30, which is when most of the British economic news is released. It goes down. I say the high has been established here. I found a proposition right here at 1740, risking 50 to make 50. Got it, and I let the market run. It retraced a little bit and then came down. When the New York markets opened at 8, it continued its downward move and exited out in the money. And this thing happened. This happens like clockwork. So my London breakout rules are fairly simple. I check the economic calendar once again to see what's happening on the British side of the pond and on our side. So I want to take a look and see if Yellen is speaking. And we have a lot of economic news happening on our end and on their end. I'm going to proceed with caution. I check the U.S. dollar index since it tends to run in the opposite direction of the pound dollar. I take a look at the daily chart for the pound dollar. Is it up or down? And then between the 2 to 5 a.m. period, usually I'll get up and look at this market like around 4 o'clock in the morning and see where we've been between 2 and 5 a.m. If it looks like a low has been established for the day, then I'll buy the market. If a high has been established, then I'll sell the market. And if I can't see, if it's chopping sideways, I ignore it. My strike price is about 40 pips above the morning low or below the morning high. And I set the expiration of the contract normally for 3 o'clock Eastern time because I want to make sure there's enough time for the New York market to do its thing. The only time that I get antsy about that is if I see a really negative bearish pound, bearish news on the UK side of the pond going into a day where there could potentially be bearish news on our side of the pond. I can choose a contract that expires at 7 a.m. and protect myself. So today's pound dollar. Let's go to investing.com. All right, let's go to the $15-minute chart. Okay, 130. Here's two. Actually, let me just go to hours. Pop this up. All right, 2 o'clock. It's a little bit bearish. Moves up at 3 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock. Boom! It drops down there. I'm thinking the high has been established actually right here. I'm gonna find a proposition about 40 pips below, and it runs all the way to 3 o'clock. It's good all the way. And if you take a look at this thing on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, day over day, all you have to do is particularly for your Forex traders, go to the hourly charts and isolate the period between 2 and 5 between the pound dollar. And then you can also check it against the pound yen and the other currency pairings. But you will see that it's quite predictable, and it happens a good 70 to 80% of the time. So I've had multiple days where, you know, the pound dollar did its thing, I picked up 50. The DAX did its thing, I picked up 50. And my profit plan was just to do $50 a day. I'm up 100, and I'm seeing that happen with great frequency these days. So, sort of wrapping things up, binary options can give you a trading edge. You have a high probability of if you have some really good strategies in your back pocket for identifying the direction of a market, Nadex can make you some money. Your risk is defined. You can never have a trade run away from you. Stop losses do not exist in the Nadex world. You can see a trade through expiration, or if it starts to turn against you, you can get out early. It requires a low capital investment. You can really open an account for as little as $100. You don't have brokers involved. Can't get stopped out. I mentioned that. And it's very simple to do. You can download your free Nadex demo account at nadex.com and test these strategies for yourselves. A recording is going to be offered to everybody. And then finally, special offers. If Yana, if you have a link to the our Nadex library, Yana will put that up. You can download the 2-week free demo, typo. And also, one thing I would just like to mention about TradingPub is, you know, we love doing these things, and we really work hard to produce high-quality events. But, you know, our growth as a company and our ability to do new and creative things is also, we also need your help. If you like what we're doing, tell your friends. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Share or retreat strategies that we put out there, because, you know, the larger this community grows, the better we all benefit from this. So with that being said, I'll take some questions. Does this make sense, by the way? It's getting to be kind of second nature for me. Do I prefer to trade Nadex over stocks? Well, absolutely, because first of all, if I were particularly if I were day trading stocks, I'd need to have a $25,000 account, and with Nadex, I can be trading with far less capital at risk. Doesn't mean that I have anything against the stock market. Back in the day, before the Great Recession, and the business that I had put up that really got walloped by the recession, yeah, I used to trade stocks all the time. I had a basket of stocks that I knew them like the back of my hands, and I made really good money trading those stocks. But those days are kind of come and gone, and as I get back into the markets, this was the first instrument that I was exposed to get back in the trading with, and I just really kind of liked it. Traderick says, can you increase the number of contracts traded? Yes. For a lot of you guys, you know, this guy's getting really excited about trading 50 to make 50. Well, that's just on one contract trader. You can trade 10 contracts and pull up a $500 profit if you want. Okay, Chris Donovan asked, do you always trade the 20-minute time period for the London Open and the DAX? No, the 20-minute time period is only available for the U.S. indices between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So You know, when the market opens, if I see a strong move, maybe there's a gap strategy in play where the market's going to retrace back to its previous close, and there's a 20-minute opportunity there. Sure, that's a great opportunity. Beyond that, I'm looking for a strong up or down trend where I have a lot of indicators confirming the direction that it's going to be up or down over the next 20 minutes. And if I'm successful once, no more than twice, I'm done. Because as choppy as the S&P is, it's really, really easy to give those profits back to the market. Bob asked, how liquid are the index contracts considering that there's a large spread between the bid and the ask? My answer to that is I don't know. Or maybe I don't understand the question like I should. Bear in mind, I'm just getting back into trading as a retail trader. You know, the bid and the ask is basically there's an underlying market that Nadex is built on. It's basically trading off of the E-mini S&P, for example. The bid and the ask are where the buyers and the sellers are in there, and I just don't place market orders. I don't even really think about bid and ask prices that much because I always place orders where I'm engaging under my terms. I'm going to determine what price I want to buy it or sell it at, take it or leave it. Okay, so Joel's coming back in and bringing up that question a little bit more. What time periods do I trade? For the pound dollar strategy, my expiration is 3 o'clock. It's a daily. I'm still cutting my teeth on the 20-minute binaries. The DAX strategy is a 2-hour time period. I kind of tailor the time period I'm going to trade to the strategy I'm trying to trade. And in both the case in both the case of the pound dollar strategy, the London breakout strategy, and the DAX strategy, I trade 2 different time periods for those, but those are what I'm comfortable within that strategy. And at the end of the day, within my profit plan, how many strategies do I really need? If I've got 2 really good high probability trading strategies, I can adjust the number of contracts I trade and pick up $200, $400, $500 a day. Any other questions? So do you feel like you learned a little bit more about Nadex today? Do I trade anything other than DAX and Forex? Yes, I do. I trade the E-mini S&P with a 20-minute binary options. I do. You know, I'm still trying to get. I do gold. I do crude oil. Although I'm still trying to. I just haven't found a really good strategy that I'm comfortable with for gold and crude. Those markets tend to. It's kind of like, all right, trust your technical, trust your indicators, trust the technicals, and then do the exact opposite. You might win. Time now to set up a trade room. Give me a little more time. Isn't the Amex going into binary options? Yeah, I mean, the binary options are getting some traction, and I did see something about them. Honestly, I wasn't impressed with the way they had it set up. You'll hold me to it. You know what? These 2 strategies, if you follow them and you run them in demo, and you'll find out how easy it is, and you're going. And it could just be that one little strategy that you have in your back pocket. Okay. Okay, Joel just answered that one. So, very good. Well, folks, I enjoyed it. I mean, this was fun to do, and as I continue in my little trading journey, and I go through these great presentations, I always have a little bit of a filter looking for that one event that has a great binary proposition. In the case of the pound and the DAX strategy, both are what I call, both of those are what I call triggered events. You know, the 2 o'clock and the time between 2 and 5 a.m. and East Coast time triggers action with the pound dollar. The 7 a.m. opening bar triggers the DAX. I love stuff like that, and it's great to see it play out. All right, folks. Well, if there are no other questions, I'm going to turn it over to Raleigh.
All right, Cam. Well, listen, thanks, buddy. Thanks for your time this evening and for sharing your experiences and your learning curve around getting a handle on Nadex binary options. I think your trading strategies are just rock solid. I know you and I've spent a lot of time sort of in the background. You've been sharing with me what you've been thinking about, and I love the way that you apply strategies that are used for trend trading other markets, like you shared with the Forex and with the DAX. Personally, from my perspective, folks, I'm kind of excited about the 20-minute Nadex markets because I'm a futures day trader myself. I trade the futures markets every day, and now I can use my futures trading strategies to consider binary option entries because I'm so used to making decisions in the futures markets as to what could occur, let's say, over the next 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours. And now that I have some 20-minute options and I've got some real nice strategies for trading the E-mini S&P or the E-mini Dow markets, for example, that's going to give me some nice options to consider maybe, you know, hedging my trades with a Nadex play. The key, in my opinion, when I look at the Nadex here, is that I hear so many people saying that, you know, it's a binary spread. It's a yes/no proposition, and it's all based on your opinion as to what you think the market's going to do. Well, if that opinion, in my opinion, isn't based on some kind of logic or technical indicators or whatnot, it's pretty much a pure gamble. So when we see people that, and we saw many presentations like today, for example, the fellow from Metastock was talking about his market forecaster. And the first thing that I thought, and I typed to Cam, was, holy smoke, this could be a great way, you know, to think about maybe weekly binary options play when you've got a market and you've got a forecaster that gives you a heat map as to where you believe a market's going to go. That might help you make a decision along those lines. And Cam was seeing the same thing. I know that there's some folks that heavily are into trading opening gaps in the market. Well, an opening gap strategy, for example, for trading the futures markets or crude or gold or something like that might be a brilliant strategy for making a decision